good lord sucks. Yeah, she isn't as hot in person.
Yeah. I am Lord, yeah. Lord, God, come in, Lord, yeah. Yeah. I love the steering, yeah. Cause I am Lord, Lord, yeah.
First world, come in and take a seat. Pay us no attention, it's all conspiracy. We have satire and parody, some funny, some perverse. If none of it's offensive to you, you'd be the first.
Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
Why doesn't the hero reveal himself and tell us your true name? You do have a name. My name is Gladiator. How dare you show your back to me? Slave, you remove your helmet and tell me your name. My name is Fun My Comic, and I represent all the campaigns you shadow banned and kicked off your website. Huh? Creators that just wanted to fund, that wanted to be left alone. And we will build a website that is going to bury you all. Oh crap.
Get ready for awesomeness.
I've done it. I've done that.
Monday morning, wake up time, get to work and stand in line. What would make her feel real fine? One Saturday morning. Coming up next is Tuesday's grind. The week is young, but I'm out of my mind. What would make her feel real fine? One Saturday morning. Wednesday, Thursday, jammed in the middle. Once again, make the foes a riddle. Watch strung real loose, but it plays like a fiddle. One Saturday morning. Friday has an exit sign, but gets in there still takes some time. What would make me feel real fine? One Saturday morning.
illuminating television.
Welcome to One Saturday Morning. Relax, kick back. It's Saturday.
We'll be right back to Disney's One Saturday Morning.
Hello. Welcome, one and all, to a Saturday morning laundry live stream with me, EB, and I've got Rich here as well. What's up, man?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Good. It's a million things to watch before we finally start the show.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. I could have made a cup of tea or dinner in the middle of everything, but that's
Yeah, exactly. That's why the description of the video says, grab yourself a cup of coffee and sit back because it's good. Although for the viewers watching, that might be the most entertaining portion of the show. I don't really know how entertaining I am otherwise. So just to warn you, you're in for some fun.
Yeah. So do you want to enlighten your audience as to what I am doing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So Rich here is drawing a cover for one of the floppies for Earth's Best Friends. So as you're seeing on the scrolling across your screen, earthsbestkickstarter.com, I am live on Fund My Comic for Earth's Best Friends Book 4. Within that campaign, you can opt for floppies instead of a trade paperback, I guess you'd call it. So one of those floppies is called Going Ape, which is the cover he's currently drawing. Involves character named TJ transforming into an ape for the first time. And it's gonna look pretty awesome. I already love just the lines that he's got going for here. And thanks for joining us, Keely. I see you. All right. Oh, look at that. Haha. If you're drinking coffee, make sure it's Geek Grind coffee. Geek Grind is the official coffee of Nerd, Roddick, and FNT. Huh. I think I've actually heard of that one. Well, all right. We've got ads upon ads this morning. Thanks, Keely. I appreciate it.
Well, we have a plug as well.
Yeah, we got it. That's fine. I'll allow it. And you say you were more of a Fox Kids and Kids WB kid. That's fair. I'm, I was pretty good in the. I liked Kids WB and Fox Kids as well, until the Fox box came. Then that was kind of when Fox went downhill. But the '90s for sure had some good stuff on it. And Kids WB, yeah, I was a big fan of Kids WB, especially during the Pokemon era. I am a millennial, so I'm one of the original kids who grew up with Pokemon.
I'm a Gen Xer, which I really am pleased about. So,
Yeah.
We played in the mud, we drank from the hose. We didn't have to worry about anything, and now we're here. And now here I am drawing this cover for you.
Yes.
I am honored that you have asked me to take care of a whole bunch of them. Thank you very much, man. I do appreciate it.
I appreciate you being willing to, man. It's awesome. It's awesome to be able to say, hey, I've got this artist who's a former who worked at DC and Marvel at one time in his life and is now a teacher of art. So it's like, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That is. I'm gonna be honest. I love teaching more than I do comics. 100%.
Oh yeah, sure.
100%. Because it's such a gift to have the ability to do that and to do this at the same time. So it's like, so I'm pleased at what I'm doing, and I'm happy that it's almost the end of the year.
Oh yeah.
So it's almost at the end of the year. So now that once I finish all of that, I'll be able to do this a little bit more for the summer. And excellent. I have a lot of stuff to do. I do have a lot of stuff to do. I have lesson planning. We're going to revamp we're revamping the whole entire program. And we're going to have a whole bunch of meetings, which is going to be great, which I'm happy about. I'm fine with it. But There's going to be a whole bunch of things that are going to be nice and new on it, but it's going to be more of the same stuff, if you know what I'm talking about. So.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. So right now, here I am, and I'm honored to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Of course. Thank you so much for coming as well. And yeah, it's a pleasure to have you, and especially to be turning my characters to life here. And especially in kind of a last minute sort of decision, like my wherever Gabriel is today, I really hope he's okay. He's still haven't heard from him, and it just worries me. But
Gabriel, who's Gabriel again?
He was the artist that was doing the covers for me. He lives in Nigeria, which apparently they have some issues with electricity and stuff. So I don't know the exact, environment of the country. I've heard different things. I even talked to somebody else from Nigeria and said that it's not likely he was kidnapped or murdered or anything. So chances are his phone got stolen and hasn't been able to get a new one. I'm like, all right, that helps me out. Hey, Doc Bishop, thanks for joining us, man.
How is everybody this morning?
Hello.
I had to fill my coffee up.
Blessed, man. We're blessed. I'm blessed.
I'm good, man.
And thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, of course. It's great to have some guys that are up with me.
I get up pretty early, but I've got
already it's already 1:00 here.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. In Rich's case, it's a different time zone.
Where are you, Richard?
I'm in the United Kingdom. I am in the UK. Yes, I love it.
So totally different time zone where you are over there.
It's 5 hours ahead. It's Greenwich Mean Time.
Gotcha. Yep. Nope. Both of my eyes are still trying to get open. I'll turn it on here in just a little bit. So what are we talking about this morning? Anything good?
Well, we were just kind of shooting the whatever, and I've been talking about what he's drawing here a little bit. He's drawn a cover for me for one of my floppies that you can get in my campaign. If you want to opt for floppies instead of trade paperbacks, you could do that. And the cover he's drawing is 1 of 10 because it'll be 10 floppies, and
that's a lot of variants.
Yeah. Well, they're all different. So my comic is an anthology. So I split the episodes into actual comics instead of putting it all together in a trade. So either or, it's something for everybody. Kind of like, I know some people would prefer to have a floppy rather than a trade paperback, and vice versa. So yeah, I kind of went ham with everything. yeah, absolutely. So. Any way you want to buy it, I've got an option for you.
Nice. I love the monkey. I've got a monkey theme going with mine. I'm the creator of First World, which is a satirical parody, and got a heavy monkey theme going with it. Anybody who's watched the show for a little while, I'm one of the sponsors, so my ad runs most of the time.
Yeah, I run your ad every Saturday morning, man. I love the song. It's very catchy.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun writing it. It was a kind of a what do they call that? A Vanter villain beat. Some catchy tunes. I'm a huge parody fan. I love Bo Burnham and Weird Al Yankovic or Stephen Lynch or any of the parody guys. I'm a huge fan of those. So any kind of homage I could give to them, I try.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love Weird Al myself. I actually got to meet him last year. Well, I use meet lightly because he was behind a plate of glass.
Gotcha. Was he at a Comic-Con or something?
Well, no, it was at his concert.
Oh, the one in Ohio?
No, it was up here in New Hampshire.
Gotcha. I almost went to the Ohio one, and I was going to do a VIP to go shake his hand, but business took over, and I wasn't able to.
That's exactly what I did, a VIP. It was awesome. So he's a nice guy. You could tell he loves being there. I was talking about this the other night on my normal show, the nighttime show. I was saying, like, they say never meet your heroes, but I've had pretty good luck meeting my heroes because I met both Weird Al and Kevin Eastman last year, and they were both very nice dudes that you could tell love their fans.
Oh, it would be amazing to meet either one of those gentlemen.
Yeah, it was quite an experience. I was like, oh my gosh, and even though we were separated by a plate of glass, we took a picture together, and then they kind of photoshopped the glass out of it. And me and Weird Al are just like staring at each other because that's the thing he does. Is I learned how to make weird faces basically watching him throughout my life. So
I think they did an incredible job with the Weird Al movie. A lot of people didn't like it.
Yes,
but it was perfect, spot on. It was a parody of a parody.
Yeah,
are you
exactly.
kidding me? You couldn't do it any other way.
Right. It's like if you thought it was going to actually be about his life, I think you kind of missed the point of him making it.
Yeah. You obviously aren't a Weird Al fan, so yeah.
Right.
Go ahead and complain and let us enjoy it.
And what's awesome is if you go to the Eat It music video that's on his channel, you see a ton of people saying, "Wow, I can't believe that he made that decision to make this completely original song." Like the fans, man, they know. If you're a real Weird Al fan, you know exactly what he was doing with that movie.
Yes.
I have yet to see it. I have yet to see.
Oh,
that
really?
movie. Yeah.
Oh.
I feel I would have. I will see it at one point.
Oh, okay.
I have really truly zero time to watch any type of programming or anything. And
gotcha.
Well, I'm a little hedging. I hedge a little bit when it comes to some programming. I mean, like I just finished. I haven't even watched Star Trek Picard season 3, but I've seen vignettes of it. Vignettes like short clips of the movie. The television show for the episodes for all of season 3, and they're all fantastic. But the first 2 seasons, I was like, oh, these are horrible. These are really, really bad. It's just, oh God, these are cringeworthy. And
right.
All of a sudden jumped up all the quality, and it's just like, and I've seen some of the clips, and spoiler alert, Riker throws an asteroid at a spaceship. It's like,
what is he thinking? Is Spider-Man with Mr. What was it with Mr. Incredible strength or?
Oh God, that was so dope. It's like, do we have a tractor beam? Yeah, well, lock on to that. All right, stop the thing, stop the ship. All right, raise up a little bit. Now let go of the tractor beam. It's like whomp, and I'm just like, oh my God, that is so nasty. That's like the best thing I've seen. I was like, and Dr. Beverly is like, did you just throw an asteroid at him? He's like, yeah, damn right I did.
Damn right I did.
So it's just like it's like immediate pimp-tasticness, where it's like, ha, jackass. That was so good, man. I loved it.
Yeah, it makes me think of that time Spider-Man threw the Hulk into the moon.
How did that?
There was a time when Spider-Man had like some god's powers.
Oh, he was Captain Universe.
Captain Universe. And so the Hulk, he was Grey Hulk at the time, and he was like tricked into going after Spider-Man. And so when he confronts him, Spider-Man spins him around and throws him into the moon.
Nice.
Yeah. It's like, yes, that's not a normal thing Spider-Man can do, but
we'll take it this time.
No.
Yes. And I thought that I first heard about that idea randomly, and then I loved the idea so much I had to actually track down the comic and buy it. And then I read it, and I was like, it's as awesome as I thought it was.
Nice.
Yes.
So, I mean, I remember when Spider-Man had that power, and I'm just like, all right, now he's a god. Why does he stop? I mean, I wouldn't let that Captain Universe thing go. I'm like, no, man, I want that Captain Universe power. What are you talking about that? I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Keep it.
Yeah, right.
Have you all seen the new Spider-Man into the Spideyverse, where I guess Spider-Man 2099 is going to be going against Miles Morales?
Oh
wow, that I would like. I cannot wait to see that one.
They're doing a timey-wimey twist thing.
Oh God, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yeah,
Got a movie in here. Love it.
I think
What do you
they're
think
getting
about
crazy with the Spider-Verse stuff. I kind of feel like it's paralleling how crazy and out of whack the Spider Clone Saga got at some point. Like originally the Spider Clone Saga was just meant to be like a few things, and then it just went out of control. And I think that's what's happening with the Spider-Verse now. It's just going way out of control. They're like milking it for everything it's worth.
They're giving us some unique storylines when they're going into the multiverse and the quantum verse, and they're definitely giving us some uniqueness to it.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's,
I am so envious of you artists. Oh my God, how do you do that?
How do I do what?
Seriously,
just that. I don't get it, dude. I have a hard time drawing a straight line with a ruler, and you're using yours to measure in between fingers, and it's like you see the picture before you put it on the paper. Right?
For the most part, I actually do. The way that I see things, I see things. I don't know. I don't think I have any type of special memory type of ability or anything, but if I choose to, I can. If I focus on something, I mean, I just think of the layout and then I just drop it in there.
It just absolutely amazes me.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you. I've been at this well, it's also the fact that I've been at this for quite some time. So it's just, it's just that, I mean, after a while, you
practice
remember
makes
where
perfect, and you get better at your craft by absolutely.
Yeah.
But you see, I don't even think that way. I don't think in pictures. So like if you were to tell me, think of a brown cow. I've got to start with a cow. Once I flip through all the other animals I can think of, and then once I get to the cow, now I've got to flip through and give it color. I think in patterns and in rhythms and in sounds. I don't think in pictures.
That's really fantastic. I wish I had the ability to do something like that. But
that is cool, though. Yeah.
We all have
so
our strengths.
Just the artistic eye, it absolutely amazes me because I guess it's you're always envious of what you don't have. I guess it's kind of like a woman. Always want what you don't have.
Just want one fry.
I've always wanted to draw. I've tried for years, and
same here.
My grandchildren draw better pictures than I do. It's absolutely mortifying. I don't even try anymore.
Absolutely, that's the same here. I've had my moments where I thought maybe I was getting better, but I'm just like, nope, I can't keep this up.
I can draw my name.
Yeah, right.
I've been practicing that for like 45 years. But that's also why I had to hire 4 other artists in order to help me make my comic book.
Exactly. Yep. That's why you got to hire artists to do things for you. Same.
And my artists, they have, oh my God, I'm explaining things to them, and I'm explaining the feeling behind it, and the dialogue, or how I want the panels to kind of flow, and what outcome we're looking to try to get to it. So I give my artists like incredible tasks. I don't tell you what I want the picture to look like. I tell you what I want to feel when I see the picture. I tell you how the story needs to convey versus this image needs to go here. So me and my artists work real heavy on the storyboarding, and we go back and forth quite a bit on the storyboarding. I spend the most time on the dialogue and trying to explain what's going on in the story.
Sure.
Well, you have to. I mean, that's how a script that I would prefer. As long as it has as long as you give me something. If you would give me something that you wanted to convey in a certain way, I have a pretty substantial idea on how to create whichever camera angle, lighting, emotional state, whatever, what have you. It's something that you learn over time, and it's almost like you're a director of a movie, but everything is just a stills, and it's not like it's a storyboard either, because I mean, it is essentially, it's a storyboard with different size panels. That's how I see it. And what happens is that the artists that work on comic books, we have to take a page of artwork, and we have to make sure that we convey it properly within about maybe 4 or 5 panels at best. instead of like all the panels that everyone's used to for a storyboard.
Oh yeah,
and I'm sure that the artists that you have are probably really good at what they do. So
I've got some pretty incredible talent. I'm quite blessed with what I've been able to have. If you don't mind, let me go ahead and show you one of the instances I'm talking about. I just shared it to the screen there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's pop it on.
This is a part of issue 2. And to go ahead and explain to everybody kind of what's going on is we'll get into, if you don't mind, I'm going to spend a few minutes and explain.
No, go right ahead.
Go for it.
But on this comic as issue 2 that we're looking at here, this is a character we have by the name of Mr. Mouseman. Mr. Mouseman runs Amuseland, which is a theme park designed for children and families and things like that. And they also happen to financially support like the majority of Hollywood and different things that go on in the media. So he's kind of a menacing overlord of an evil corporation or of a corporation that wants to have nefarious deeds, I guess we will call it. So how do you really convey that and still have that layer of comedy and have that overlayer? So I was trying to explain this scene when we were first introducing Mouseman to my artist, and this is what we came up with. So we have a big tower with absolutely no way to get there. There's no stairs, there's no elevator, there's no nothing, but all the windows are making up his smile, the mouse's smile, because that's just kind of creepy.
Yeah,
right.
It is.
So as we get him creepy in the window, and then we zoom in, and then we see the phone ring, and then we've got to take one of those little play school phones. Oh
yes. It also adds an element of creepy to it.
Oh, that absolute creep factor to it. So Mouseman goes ahead and picks up the phone with his play school phone and begins to threaten the mayor of a city, because that's what corporations do, is they just throw money and threats at people or cities and governments until they get their way. And then he went ahead and decided to give me this when I told him, okay, so this is going to be a homage or a parody to like Pulp Fiction. but I need animalistic characters because reasons.
yeah, of course.
So this is the scene he gave me for that one, and just blew both my socks off between me just giving him Pulp Fiction reference and his complete his complete idea of this phone was completely my artist. This blew me away when I saw it. I just started laughing.
It's perfect, man.
It was absolutely one of the best choices I think he could have pulled off on it. But now that I got a little bit far into it there, let me go ahead and try to share this page, and I will screw everything up. I put together a little bit of a pitch deck to help convey the idea, because lots of reasons and things. So
here we go.
This is my comic book, which we are going to be releasing issue 2 here, probably the first or second week of May. I'm trying to get as much pre-gaming done as I can before I release it. The campaign is ready to go. I've already built the campaign. The book is done. That's what we were just looking at, was the first couple pages of issue 2. So there is no waiting. There is no, is this going to fund and am I going to get? No, the book is done. I just need a way to kind of pay myself back and printing costs and things like that. All the reasons we do our Kickstarters and our different crowdfunding campaigns. So First World is a satirical parody, and my first 2 artists that I hired, or my first 2 talent that I hired, was a good writer and a black man artist. And that is no parody. That is no that's not even a double entendre. It's more like a quadruple entendre squared. Because my writer's name is Amy Good. We have a show together every Sunday night at 7:00. So come see us on the tomorrow night. We're going to have a brand new guest from Mexico. So it's going to be an interesting show. And then my concept artist, the one we're going to be looking at a lot of his art in this one, is Antone Blackman, which if that's not a sign from God to go ahead and make this parody, I don't know what is.
Right.
So I went ahead and started with that one. But what we're going to do is this whole story takes place in kind of like a alternate timeline. So is everybody familiar with the Mandela effect?
Yes.
Okay.
Or at
So
least I
I
am.
parody the Mandela effect with the Harambe effect. So when Harambe is murdered in 2016, this entire world went to shit. And we get to make fun of every instance that we can, starting from that point forward on like a chronological timescale. So when a gorilla is murdered, a dimensional rift opens and governments aligns with corporations conspire to suck humanity dry of its resources and sanity as they vie for ultimate control. Right.
Jesus.
So First World is a practically post-apocalyptic, or maybe that's just apocalyptic. There's absolutely no post in sight. This isn't getting any slower. Slightly Mad Magazine, Alice in Wonderlandy version of a dark dystopian reality that is freakily similar to ours. Right. In a dimension that isn't quite far enough away, some shit went down, sending us down a dark, yet slightly moist satirical rabbit hole.
Slightly moist.
You got to give the description with it here when you don't think in pictures. You got to think in other patterns. Our reality takes the shitter route when the leader of a mother-obsessed cult murders the Messiah monkey, kickstarting the Harambe effect. Okay, so yes, we are going all out. So you join Above Average Joe and his guests, Pope, Mr. Mouseman, Auntie Sam, and many more as they peer through this shit-stained looking glass to discover the non-stop calamities known as the Harambe effect. So in order to tell this story, we actually have so many antagonists, we actually had to start creating protagonists because we didn't have enough good guys. Right. And because when you get a story with such a large, I'll use the word cast for a better use of terms, with such a large group of characters, there's got to be some sort of a narration or an easier way to tell the story. So we decided to tell the story from the perspective of a podcast host. So this is Above Average Joe, who runs a podcast somewhere outside of space and time that can kind of peer into both realities and allow us to make fun of anything and everything we possibly can in a controlled environment like the Harambe effect in First World.
Oh my word.
Excellent.
Right. So we're going to get into a cast of characters. This is going to be Above Average Joe, which is our narrator-ish of First World. And he's got his co-host, which is Common Sense. Now, Common Sense is kind of the producer. He's behind the glass, the kind of the voice of the reader or the voice of reason is the spot where we decided to place him. Or her, or it, or they, or them, or bugs, or whatever.
Demon self.
Yeah, demon self. One of our main antagonists or protagonists, because we do tell the story from a slight different moral flop, is going to be Auntie Sam, which is obvious, Uncle Sam after surgery and post-op. They also control the League of Three Letters, the FBI, CIA, DEA. They all look the same. They can't even tell each other apart.
Right.
And happens to sit on the council of the Illuminatis.
Illuminatis.
Illuminatis. This is Mr. Mouseman. Of course, all this artwork is done by my concept artist, Antone. And I love the way he delivered this one to me with the non-black detail and just the scale of him sitting next to a standard size person to just add to the creep factor of this character. But I explained him pretty well earlier. He runs Amuseland, the theme park, and financially supports the majority of Hollywood's propaganda campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
And also sits on the Illuminati's Council.
Makes sense.
This is Pope. Pope may or may not be the mastermind behind this whole venture. You see, because
what's that monkey there for?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What's that monkey for?
This is Pope. The monkey drives the mechanical cult leader.
Oh, okay.
From the
Pope
large hat.
Is the control panel.
And inside the hat, he has his corona visor, because you've heard the Vatican actually has a corona visor somewhere in there where they can see the past, present, and future on a television.
Wow.
Right. So this allows him to view the different events of First World and what actions he may take to get the reactions he needs and wants to steer this fuckery into the timeline we need it to be. He may or may not have won that corona visor or that time television from Papa Time, because Papa Time is one of our demigod type characters of First World. You see, he is a cross between Rip Van Winkle and Flavor Flav.
Excellent.
And he flies around in his red phone booth called a retardus.
Nice.
Yes, just parody on top of parody on top of parody. We're throwing it all at this. Every conspiracy theory, parody, or dark internet concept I can find, I'm throwing into this.
Nice.
Papa Time, supposedly, according to Pope, lost a bet, and that is how Pope has retained his time television. This brings us to the beginning of First World and some of our artwork from another artist that we have, Osiris, down in Brazil, is an amazing artist. Osiris is the one that came up with the phone and the Pulp Fiction idea, just completely on his own with very little details from me. But this is where Major City Zoo is, where the death of Harambe, or the murder of our Messiah monkey, takes place. So when our Messiah monkey is murdered, that is what allows all of the events of First World to unfold and unveil. Now, I do want to take this time because, well, I have yet to have anybody ask me about it, and I've pointed it out to a couple of different people, but I have layered so many different Easter eggs and dark internet things into here that it's turning into a little bit of a game. So this one I made very, very obvious, because this is going to be kind of a Where's Waldo game that we're going to play with every one of my issues.
Nice.
Okay, so with the assassination of Harambe, or the death of the Messiah monkey, we have created the death snail. Is anybody in meme culture here? Does anybody know what death snail is? Have you heard that story yet?
No.
Okay, I've been educated by my children, so no, I am not some young hip kid. My children, they've told me that, I guess, in meme culture, that there is layers to memes. Okay, so you have some memes that are just funny and everybody gets, and then there's other memes you look at it, it's like, what the hell is this? I don't understand it. And there's other people laughing their ass off because they get it. That is a layered meme. Evidently, those memes reference other memes that reference other memes that reference other memes. So you have
like
layers of memes. Yeah, it's like a memeception. Okay, so that is what actually created the death snail, was a memeception. So there was this game that came out, God knows how many years ago, that would give you a what if scenario in a text form, and then you just kind of respond in kind to how you would respond to it. And people were posting their replies publicly as memes. And the death snail one was, okay, let's say you are immortal. You get to live forever and get $1 million.
Yeah.
Oh.
But there's a snail that is also immortal. That sole purpose is to find and touch you. And if the snail ever touches you, you instantly die. What would you do?
Okay, then.
So that exploded amongst all the creative memers that we have. And people are talking about, I would put it in a tungsten ball and wrap it in tinfoil and throw it in the bottom of the ocean. And other people are like, well, I would take my $1 million and I would pay somebody $50,000 a year to hold that snail on the opposite side of the country, from opposite side of the world from where I am. And they were coming up with all sorts of clever things. And then it exploded to like when the Queen died.
Yeah.
You could see memes that the snail caught up to the Queen.
Right.
When Betty White died, you see memes. The snail, bless this Betty White, the snail finally caught her. So that's the layers of the memes of the death snail.
Wow.
Well, as you can see in the top right-hand corner of the screen, we have created the death snail with the assassination of Harambe as he creeps away from the corpse of the ape.
Jesus.
Yeah, I did notice the word death, but now that you're talking about the snail, I see that the snail is in that word too.
So we're just going to layer some memes or some layers in there, and I'll throw in that little Easter egg, because there should be a death snail in every issue from this moment forward. The question is where?
Where is the death snail?
Yes, where is it? So yeah, it's designed for enjoyment on being able to reread. I love being able to go pick up a comic book that I have in my collection I haven't looked at in 5 years and open it up and find something I didn't see the first time, or find an underlying tone or a different story that's underneath the primary story that was absolutely intended by either the writer or the artist or whomever created the issue, but intended it for avid fans, intended it for people that like the puzzles.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of a different approach that I'm taking to First World in our issue.
Makes sense.
And then we have the Crack-a-Boom, of course, or the Crackoom, as the dimensional vortex opens and we transition into the fuckery of First World. And then, of course, have to throw up the freedom of speech warning because, First Amendment rights and whatnots.
Strand color test. I love it. Oh man.
So we've already got a lot of our issues planned out. Of course, our first issue we labeled the Messiah Monkey, and issue 1, our kickoff, or issue capital 1 would be an exclamation point, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Wow.
So anyways, so it's a nostalgic trip to the beginning of the Harambe effect as Above Average Joe talks to an anonymous whistleblower to find out about the assassination of Harambe. Issue 2 is going to be the Opinionoid Crisis. Right?
Nice.
Mr. Mouseman experiments on the people of Amuseland and Throb Nightclub and Rocktown. Pope enlists Big Pharma, Input, and Anti-Sam to execute and exploit the Opinionoid Crisis.
Wow.
Because, 2016, there's a lot of shit that happened. I had to do copious amounts of research just to decide which stories were big enough to put in here, because I couldn't really fit it all in here. So,
wow. Yeah, I'm
going
sure.
into issue 3 is going to be the 2016 elections. That's just a good enough label for that right there, because you can imagine the fuckery we're going to get into with that one. Right.
Right.
Okay. So this is where Umptra and Hillary Vogelgate will debate and fight for the presidential election, while another Umptra upsets Queen Mother by momcipating the citizens of Mother Country. So I have a character by the name of Umptra that kind of unfolds like a paper doll whenever he needs to replicate himself. And one of the Umtras decides to run for president of the Americas, and the other Umtra runs over and becomes prime minister of Mother Country.
Prime minister. Nice.
Nobody is safe with First World. Yes.
That's great.
I'm
like a comic book version of South Park. You're just going after everyone and everyone.
Yep. that's kind of the plan. Come on, if you can't have fun and at least laugh at the fuckery of the past 7 years.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if you've been living in the same world I've been living in.
Not sure you're human.
Or I don't know if you have a sense of humor. Now, some people just don't possess a sense of humor.
Yeah, that's true.
And others have a little bit more of a twisted one, you see, and that's just the beginning of all the calamities we have in mind, you see, because there's many more we can squeeze into the 2016 timeline, like the Cubs winning the World Series after 108 years. Can you imagine who sold their soul for that one?
Yeah, right.
Well, what about that one as well. The Russian DNC email hacks and leaks. That could be fun to play with, because we also have a character by the name of Input, who is the creator of social media and happens to also be the dictator of a country called Cold Asia-ish.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
See where we're going with that one. Standing Rock Pipeline. That could be a lot of fun, that protest. Zika virus, 2016 Summer Olympics. There is so much that happened in 2016. I'm not going to run out of material. And 2016, we were just getting started. Imagine until we get to the pandemic.
Oh my gosh!
You
have to do like a 100-page special for just the beginning of the pandemic, man. You'd have to do like its own like series.
The pandemic's going to be a volume of its own.
Seriously. It would be like if Marvel did Secret Wars, but it never ended. Like, like that's how big I could imagine it would be. You'd have so much material.
There's no real stopping of this. I'm never going to run out of material. I'm never going to run out of characters. I'm never going to run out of situations. So this, if I can get a fanfare behind it, this could double also as an animation very, very easily.
Oh, yeah.
Very easily. Now, however, that's a little bit more expensive than even a comic book because I have gotten a
very
quote
true.
on it. I've started looking into it. So I contacted a studio that does that. And the quote I have to illustrate issue 1, mind you, it's a 24-page comic book, small, was $75,000.
That's
to animate?
For an 18-minute animation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's what I've been quoted.
Yeah, it's a little bit out of my budget.
Yeah. Even I mean, I think only
zeros.
Yeah. You have to have quite a following to be able to get that in a Kickstarter.
Oh yeah. So let's start with a comic book platform. You know, we've got Comicsgate. The Comicsgate community has been very open and inviting to us. We've got the indie comic community. They've been very opening and inviting to us. Pops has been great and opening and inviting, and this entire network we're on here has been incredible with promoting our channel and getting it. Pops had a lot to do with the success of our first campaign.
Excellent.
Did that with Mike as well a couple of years ago.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Pops is very instrumental in a lot of stuff that he does.
Yeah.
Oh yes, he is. He's
he helped me with my first campaign as well. It succeeded a lot because of him, for sure.
He is definitely a blessing to a lot of us, though. Yes, when you listen to this later, Pops, thank you. Thank you very much for being you.
Yeah, shout out to Pops.
Yeah, I've been associated with Pops since he pretty much started this. I've been a co-host with him on a Monday Madness for a couple of years, and I have my Drawstream show over at Sundays. But Pops is instrumental in a lot of people's successes.
Absolutely,
he really he deserves the accolades, because if it's not for him, who didn't decide to put something together after the pandemic began, there'd be a lot of us who would be far worse off.
Absolutely,
definitely
far worse off.
I say, unfortunately, I wasn't aware of the channel back during the pandemic. It wasn't until I got into this venture that I've met a lot of you people, and I even realized how comic book creations worked. Oh my God, I did not imagine it took this many people to put together a fucking book. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Letterers are a thing. So that's a discipline all in itself to make the bubbles. Oh God, yes. No, absolutely. It is a discipline in itself, and it's worth every penny of it. Because when you try to do it yourself and you really don't understand lettering, it looks like garbage, and you can tell. I can pick up a comic book now and look at it and be like, yeah, that was professionally lettered. No, this was not. Somebody thought they could letter, and they tried.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very obvious. So that was one thing that just blew my mind. And then the same person that draws the pictures doesn't color the pictures. Yeah, no, I didn't even realize that. Now that they can, absolutely. You just don't give them enough time to do that. You can't color, draw, and storyboard all and still get a book out in a timely fashion. No, one person. That's very, very difficult, in my opinion. Now, there's lots of creators that do that. Hats off to every one of you.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, that is a very, very difficult task to give to just one person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, shout out to Gene Pedroso, my artist, who does do all of that for me.
Absolutely amazing. I tell you, Osiris is actually able to produce a page a day completed.
Wow. That's awesome.
Now, it's not colored, but my colorist can also color a page a day completed. So we've got a pretty good system we've got going now where we can rip through 5 pages a week, completed, finished, colored, from inking to coloring. After the storyboarding has been taken care of. So we're getting a pretty good system set up.
Excellent.
But that brings us into our epically apocalyptic, delightfully sarcastic indulgence that is First World.
That sounds really good, man. Sounds amazing. I'm pretty excited for it, for sure.
Well, thank you. I didn't hear that. What was that?
What do you think so far?
I think it is absolutely amazing.
That looks awesome.
The detail you have with your appendages, did you have to spend a lot of time working with your hands and feet? Because you have incredible articulation of the dexterity
Kind of, yeah. I mean, you have to think of sometimes you have to think of them in their base forms. You see, there's a way to do it where if you just if you break down the way that the hand is supposed to be shaped with the wireframe and then the forms around it, like you have to think of the shapes that go around it. Like if you have a hand over here, like I would consider this a wedge or a soft box, whereas I would consider my fingers and the joints therein, cylinders. Like
that makes sense. I'm sorry, that just clicked. Okay, so you just look at things as a bunch of shapes put together. You don't look at it the item as what it is. It's just a collage of shapes.
Well, I do because I do at the end of it, because what I do is here. Let me show you. Now, let's say I wanted to draw a hand like this. Now, a lot of times, a lot of people don't get it. You have to draw it in a 3-dimensional square. Give it 3 sides or something, and then you just let's say I wanted to just. God, there's so many things that I'd be able to show. Like, let's say I just wanted to have my hand like this. And have it along those lines. Okay, so we have these. Now what I do is I block out the muscles, the base muscles of the hand, which right over here, you have this palmar area and this over here. The strongest parts of your hand are your pinky and your thumb, because they help fortify the grip. The other 3 fingers just stabilize the grip because there's no major muscle group over there. There's just a bunch of tendons that close. I mean, they're activated by the muscles in the forearm, but the major muscles in the hand over here for the pinky and the thumb, they help fortify the grip around it. So that's why they have their own special portion right over here. And then as you can see where the fingers are going, the direction of the fingers themselves, what I do now is I create what would be considered cylinders right over here. Now, mind you, this is a very, very rough version of what I'm doing.
But that's still like Picasso compared to what I could pull off.
Well, I've been doing this most of my life, man. I mean, I've been drawing since I was 4 and professionally since I was 24.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's obvious. You are incredible.
Now, so it's like, I mean, thank you, but it's like I've been at this for 30 years, and it didn't take me. It took me quite a while to, not even so much master it, but just to understand the function. And then figure out on my own how I'd be able to draw everything with the corresponding joints, with the folds in the fingers.
And that's why it takes so much attention when you're developing a new.
It takes a bit, but I've drawn so many damn pages that it's like, yeah, I have a more than passive idea. I have actually a very, very good idea of how this is. And it's like, I've been at this for almost 50 minutes, and more than half of this thing is done. The only thing I have to do is add the details in the buildings, and we're good. I'll have this done probably by around 3 o'clock. So,
wow.
I mean, it was at a point when I was working for when I started at Marvel in DC. It took me a long time to finish a page, but then it just got to a point where I could take a page in about 4 hours. And that's when I was an inker, and when I started penciling, of course, I had that time, for learning, because I mean, I knew how to draw. It's just been a long time since I did, so it took me a while to get to a point where, and my Pops and Doc have seen it and they'll vouch for it. I can finish a full comic book page with all the accoutrements and the description of the shot and whatnot in about 3 hours.
Wow.
Just by penciling, and then awesome. It takes probably another hour and a half, 2 hours for inking. Coloring, I take a long time with, because I want to make sure that it's decent, because I'm not the best colorist on the planet. I mean, I understand all the theories behind it, but I'm more of just this type of guy who just draws this stuff. And that's not exactly a good thing either. I have to make sure that I start getting things in order. But yeah, as you can see, I already have a preliminary drawing underneath here. As you can see, it's very slight and blue line, but it's
I've been watching you as you were putting it together and taking the sketch or the pencil from the back of it and bringing it to, for lack of a better word, commitment. You're more committing to that specific image.
You're 100% correct. because what I do is, for the most part, I take a blue line pencil, and when I create my layouts, I use a blue line pencil so I can see where everything is going, because the blue is supposed to not show up on any type of scanning or anything. And I have an issue seeing monochromatically on such a small scale, like a pencil stroke. I have a hard time discerning which gray is the one that's the dominant one that I'm going to be drawing with. So I use a blue line pencil underneath for the layout, and then again, with my accumulated knowledge of everything that I've done, it's just a matter of finishing and just putting everything in and making sure that everything is in the right composition, the right dimensions. I mean, there's a lot of factors you have to consider when you draw a comic book page. Layout, how it reads, what the composition of it is. I mean, how the panel is placed, how the story is placed.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different considerations that you have to have when you put in a comic book page. You got to make sure that it's accurate. You got to make sure that it has some sort of perspective or definition of some kind. It's.
Mm-hmm. But you can also leverage placement and breaking through the panel to emphasize specific panels as well.
It depends. Well, it depends. It's like if you want to break through the panels, that's great. That's more of a you don't do that all the time.
Just when you want to emphasize.
You can do that at some intervals, but there are times it's when it comes to breaking a panel or anything along those lines, it needs to be timed for a more than significant event, or there has to be some sort of reason as to why it's done there. Because there's a lot of artists that I see, especially in the independent community, who just do it for the sake of doing it. And it's just, you can't do that. Because if you do, I mean, it takes away some of the drama and the impact of that
value when you need it.
I'm sorry?
It loses the value when you need to use it to emphasize.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's absolutely true. It's just, if you use too much of it just for like the shock value or the entertainment value, you're going to lose the context of the story. And if you see too many flashy images or too much flashy rendering, it's too much an assault on the eyes, because you don't have any other type of buildup for that. And if you don't have any buildup for it, if you don't stage it correctly, and it's obvious to see sometimes when it's not staged correctly, then you have a comic book that people just run through instead of sit there and really understand what the story is, what's going on with the story. There's ways of building up the tension in a story, in a visual story, when you do it right. I mean, there's more than a couple of variant type of ways that you can present it. And that takes a long time to master. I mean, no one just gets up and does it. It simply does not work that way. It doesn't. Because you need, I mean, I might have mentioned before, I'm a director, if you will. You could say that I'm a de facto director of the scenes that are coming around. And I have to choreograph each scene, each panel that's required within the context of the story and what the writer is asking for a description of what's inside the panel. I have to make sure that I'm doing that correctly and making sure that I have a flow of continuity in which it's a story that could be understood and it could be deciphered and read properly, and make sure it keeps the audience's attention. Because if you draw too many crazy hyperbolic panels, or you do too many splash pages, or if you do too many panel breaks or whatnot, it lessens the impact of what you're doing. It really does. And if it does, then you're going to lose the purpose of what the story is supposed to be, what it's all about. So I mean, something like this is not easy to do. You have to. There's about 5 or 6 disciplines you have just to do this. Easy. Perspective, studies on perspective, 1 point, 2 point, and 3 point, and making sure that all the lines line up, and making sure that the page makes sense. Composition, on how the important elements are, which ones are important and which ones can be receding, and then taking all those elements and making them stand out on their own. Human anatomy, obviously, outside of a little bit of hyperbolic nature of it, because it doesn't take a good artist to recognize bad human proportions when someone draws it.
It's true. It's true.
It's very.
Which artist was it that he drew for Spider-Man, and he would hide his feet in his hands, and because he was.
God, that's Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, okay, that was him. Yeah, so I remember
Rob
reading that 30 years ago.
Liefeld's the guy who's the most guilty of that. He really is. He's just bad. He's a bad artist, and I don't care what anybody says. He's a trailblazer. He's a bad artist. He's a crappy storyteller, and his books are always fucking. Every single thing that this man has ever put out has always been late. Every single thing.
Wow.
It's documented.
Huh.
You know, all the stuff that happened with Valiant when Jim Shooter was there and Image, that crossover that was not necessary. You know, it pretty much ruined Valiant and almost put comics, you know, out. It did, because everyone was trying to do all those variant covers and all those foil covers and everything, and it just became so saturated that no one wanted to do anything in it. No one wanted to buy any of them anymore.
Yeah, that was back in the 90s.
Yeah, that's why 90s comics aren't worth as much as the 80s comics.
I was working in Marvel when that happened. I was working in Marvel when they almost went belly up. Dead serious.
Wow.
Yeah, man. It's not fun. You know, if it wasn't for part and parcel, some of it was from Joe Quesada when he came in. The Marvel had X-Men and Fantastic Four. That was it. And then all of a sudden now they have Joe Quesada come in, and he took some of the lesser known characters like Daredevil, Punisher, and he hired artists for those guys and really ramped up the popularity of those characters. And then he slowly built it from there. You know, Marvel became the powerhouse. I'm sorry, Heroes for Hire?
Yeah, I was a huge fan of Heroes for Hire and
I love Heroes for
Luke Cage and Iron Fist back in the 80s.
Yep, so was I. And I was a lot of the 70s comics from Power Man and Iron Fist
were really good.
A lot of that stuff is drawn by one of my favorite artists, John Byrne. He's a master storyteller, just like George Perez was, God rest his soul. A whole bunch of them, Buscema, Frank Miller, David Mazzucchelli, Klaus Janson. God, there's so many good storytellers. Oh, they knew exactly what the hell they were doing, and that's what I try and do. Whenever I draw a page, I try and make sure I tell a story, and it looks like I'm telling one now. So,
it's incredible. Yeah, no,
I love it.
I love the monkeys. I like the monkeys. We're nothing but monkeys in shoes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, man. That's my thing. I've been doing this for quite some time, and
with your experience, what do you think of the concept and the storytelling we've taken with First World? If you don't mind me asking, can I put you on the spot?
I have yet to. Well, it's not my place to say anything regarding that, considering that I have yet to see any type of storytelling from First World. However, I do think the parodic nature of everything you're doing is definitely apt for the times, because at present, with everything that's gone on in our lives over the last 10 years, we have to laugh at it.
Yes.
You have to. Just like if you don't, if you don't laugh at it, you will literally go insane. It's just because it's like,
so true.
These are a lot of things to happen over the span of like 5 to 10 years. And it boggles the mind how quickly things can change and how every single thing can change. And it's just, it's like first, I mean, yeah, the Cubs win the World Series, and then we're in a worldwide pandemic for 2 years.
Right.
Now we have a whole bunch of other things that we have to worry about. It's just the continuous overloading of all the sensory input that we have, especially from social media and endless news outlets that just regurgitate things over and over again. It's just enough. Yeah. I don't have it.
You're gonna love issue 2. We talk about all this in issue 2.
Even the title, it almost feels like it's a reference to the term first world problems, right? Yeah. Even the title feels like that.
Yeah, because when it boils down to it, nobody has to worry about where their next meal's coming from. Nobody really has to worry about a roof over their head.
Right.
It's all first world problems, but we're freaking out and melting down, and assisted suicide in Canada, for fuck's sake.
Oh gosh.
Because you're handicapped. Really?
Yeah. It's like, what?
I thought that was just a farce in like in Futurama, but no,
it's coming true, right?
So yeah, if you
suicide booths. Who knows? It'll be a thing. I bet.
You know, I think it already is. Let's go check out Japan. Sorry, go check out China. I think they already have them over there.
That's true. True.
There's so many things that, you know, the first George Bush said it best. You know, he's like, if the United States citizens ever found out what we were really doing to them, they would string us up in the middle of town square, every single one of us, Democrat and Republican. And
all
I'm just
all
it's
of
like,
them are
yeah,
paid for, and the system is broken.
Yeah, and people are just milled into wars that make absolutely zero sense.
Well, war
that have
money.
absolutely nothing to do with nothing, and it's just
both sides of the war. Of course, you're going to.
God, yeah. Well, Prescott Bush was the one who did that. Prescott Bush did that.
Yeah, but
he did that. The grandfather of George Bush, he financed both sides, and there were railroads that went. There were railroads that were built both in the United States and in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
the second Bush.
That's just so much insanity in this world, man.
Oh
yeah, it's crazy.
When the second Bush got voted in, he made me actually feel like I could be president. He had that kind of intelligence level.
Right.
It's just like we see everything that we see here, and your comic, you know, First World is you know, it's a nice smack in the face to all the things that are going around, because you have to take what you see and you have to laugh at it, because it's not engineered by normal human beings. No, normal humans don't want something like this to continuously happen all the damn time. Right. And just us regular people, not even so much that we're regular people. I mean, people who are heads of corporations are no different than us.
Yeah.
It's just that these small-minded men and some women, you know, it's almost a sociopathic need to contain power. And it's that whole power is an illusion. The majority of us know it. I mean, if it ever got to that point, you know, that would be taken care of. But at the same time, we're still just trying to make sure that we all survive.
Yeah. Because
we're just trying to make sure that we all survive. Being honest with you. And it drives me nuts, because there are so many good people in this world, you know, who do get the short end of this, not only just the short end of the stick, but the short end of everything else. It's just horrible after a while, you know? It really is.
Our humanity is degrading, in my opinion.
Our humanity is being degraded as a result of the actions of others. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. You know, there are too many people pulling strings in order to make sure that they have their little power trips in Congress. I mean, the people who are in Congress right now are essentially millionaires in the service of billionaires who don't care if any of us live or die. And it's not. The party lines were created to make sure that they separate us,
right?
To divide us, racially, religiously,
ethnically. You know, it doesn't matter.
Ethnically, exactly. All these party lines are just meant to separate us as people, as humans.
And we fail to realize that we're the ones that actually gave them the power, and now it's gotten. They're just taking it. They're not even asking anymore.
It's been a subtle burn. It's been
like the World Economic,
like a frog in boiling water. You know,
I've got a meme for that.
You put them in the pot first, and you just sit there and boil.
It's been evident. It's been a little bit prevalent since the 60s. It's been hidden since the 40s, but it's been super prevalent since the 80s, and now it's since the 2000s. It's not even. It's just
now
right there out in the open.
They're being blatant about it. Yeah. Yeah, they're not even hiding it anymore.
Not even trying.
That's exactly what's happening.
You know, it's like you have the Bushes, and I used to live in New York City, and Donald Trump is truly a monster deviant. But you know, the way what him and his father did to New York City, the man was laughed out of New York City because of his terrible real estate dealings and the crimes that he consistently committed. But what a lot of people don't get about the Clintons. I never liked Bill Clinton. I always hated that man. I ran into him. No joke. I was in the Staten Island ferry coming over from Staten Island to Manhattan to go to work. And he was there in the campaign trail in 1991. And he was shaking hands with everybody that was there. I shook his hand. I felt like I was holding a newborn baby's arm. And it was all like noodly. He had no grip behind it, but he had fingers that were like long as tendrils. When you shake a man's hand, you know, you expect a decent grip. You're like this. His was like that. And I'm just like shaking a dead fish. Son of a bitch. And that guy, he put together the North American Free Trade Agreement, which allowed corporations to leave the United States and get rid of and lay off hundreds of thousands of workers in the United States just to save corporations some money. And so for anyone who thinks that it's purely Republicans who do crap like that, no. And I'm a dyed-in-the-wool progressive liberal, and I know that the Clintons are just absolute bastards. They are. And Hillary Clinton did not deserve to win the election. She did not, because not only did she flip-flop all over the damn place with everything that she said, but she also didn't go to the campaign states that if she decided to go and maybe said something, maybe there could have been a little bit of a difference. But there wasn't. Right. She was too arrogant, and she's just too damn full of herself.
Well, that and I think
the rumors were that she was the president when Clinton was there. Bill Foster's dead because of her. You know, I'm sorry. Like I said, I am of a progressive mind. Trans people, cool, excellent. You shouldn't play sports, but you know, go get them. I don't care if your name is Zeph. I don't. That's another thing. But it's like I don't care if your name is Zaphod Beeblebrock's popcorn face. I don't care. You know, I'll call you whatever you want. That's fine. Live your life. Cool. I'm not, but okay if you are, excellent. But you know, when it's just like when every single thing is scrutinized over nothing. Like, come on, enough. Just
absolutely.
Yep. Thus, first world.
In a nutshell, right?
Well, think about it, though. That's what I'm liking about First World so far, because you're spitting in the face of anybody who is just thinking that this is, for anyone, you're spitting in the face of all the insanity.
Insanity, exactly.
You know, and if you think that I should, if you feel that I would be worthy enough to judge whatever you're doing story-wise with your book, I mean, if you want to,
shoot me your email in the private chat. I'll shoot you.
I'll be more than happy. I'll pop it in the private chat, and I'd be honored. I would be honored to take a look at it. I mean, I don't know how much my whatever comments I have or any type of influence I would have, but man, I just got to tell you, dude. Well, I will tell you, the simple fact that you're doing something like this, it's pretty brave, because there's a lot of people who will not do something like this and make sure that they just, you know, keep a status quo because no one knows who's watching or anything. I mean, I live in the UK and there's a security camera everywhere except
Big Brother, man, it became true.
It's been like this in the UK for a long time. You cannot go anywhere without. If you're outside, there is a camera watching. There is a camera watching.
That's crazy.
It is. It's up there. But man.
I can still go for a 2-day hike and not see another person.
Right.
in the United Kingdom, despite the size of it, you can do that. You can actually do that. I mean, there's nice, huge enclaves of population, but then there's also wonderful green lands here. Oh, it's fantastic. And the history of this
on that side of the world,
country here.
Oh God, yes, I love the history. I see. Last time I was over on that side, I was over in Ireland back in 2015, and it was absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, it is. It's beautiful. 100% beautiful. I was in Ireland a little while ago. It's amazing. I was also in Wales when I first got here. You know, and it's endless land, and it's just such a breath of fresh air. It really is, truly is.
It's a gorgeous part of the world. That is awesome.
Absolutely.
Look at you. Frame and everything.
Wow. I love it.
Yes, I love it.
Yes. So on that note, guys, I gotta wrap it up. My laundry is done. I wanted to show off one thing real quick before we end here. So this is the first cover Rich did for me. I mucked it up with the lettering, of course, but but yeah. So that and Instagram, I had to fit it for Instagram, so it looks a little weird in the background there. But yeah, that's the first one. So that's Tween Titans #1, and then this will be Going Ape, which is Animal Teens #3, and all part of Earth's Best Friends book #4. I know I don't keep it simple. I confuse the heck out of me and myself all the time, and people potentially trying to get into Earth's Best Friends. So, and one more time, we'll pop your link up there. So guys watching, definitely check out First World Opinionoid Crisis. Looks awesome, dude. I can't wait to check it out and see it. And of course, right now, you live on Fund My Comic is Earth's Best Friends book #4. Earth'sBestKickstarter.com. That domain was paid for before he made Fund My Comic go live. So, all right, guys. So thank you for coming on, Doc and Rich. Great to have you guys here today. Yeah, absolutely, man.
Nice to meet you, Doc. And Michael, I'll probably have this inked maybe later tonight. I mean, I'm going to see what I'm going to do because I'll see what happens. But yeah, this will be done, and I'll take a picture and I'll send it to you later. All right.
Sounds awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Doc, it's good talking to you, man. We'll have to set up a time to get you on the show, Doc, as well. My nighttime show, 8:45 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh yeah, sounds
one
like
of the nights.
Like I said,
yeah.
I'm pre-gaming right now, so any invite I can get, I'm open to.
Yeah, I'll message you and we'll set up a time. We'll set up a date.
It sounds good. I'll go ahead and give away some digital copies on your show then.
Excellent. That sounds great, man.
All right, bud.
Very good.
Bye.
Guys, thank you so much. And thank you for viewing out there. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye now.